Welcome back. All right, I'm going to do something I haven't done before. I'm going to record a news of the day video at night after the review slash recap and have it posted to the channel in the morning because time in the morning is of the essence. So there's a new flying skate jersey that appears to have leaked for the Canucks. So I'm wearing the flying skate and I'll explain the differences. The colors on the neckline appear to be gone. These stripes have been this stripe has been extended and pulled away from the yellow one. So there's a yellow stripe this size and a red stripe this size. The Canucks, you see where it's white behind it? It's just black now all the way across behind the name Canucks. And from the reaction we've had online, and the stripes at the bottom are separated the same way. But the reaction online is basically sacrilege, which, I don't know, I think it looks fine. I don't think it's a big deal. But there are Canuck fans that are upset. However, well, that's apparently going to be a media thing that they're going to reveal in about, I think it's a week's time, somewhere around that. There's a PR nightmare that started with, as I mentioned this morning, about Quinn Hughes and his comments to the media after the game against Tampa and how he felt that the Tanner Pearson injury wasn't handled right. Apparently, it's the third procedure on that hand for Pearson. According to Rick Dhaliwal of local Vancouver media, from what he's hearing, this might be career-threatening. He may not be back next year. So the Vancouver Canucks, in Jim Rutherford hearing what was said by Quinn Hughes, he has checked in with Alvin, he's checked in with Boudreau, and there's going to be an investigation by the Canucks. Now, it's not the first time in the last 12 months, or even the second time in the last 12 months, that a team has basically investigated themselves. I hope I never have to investigate myself, because whatever. It's an odd thing to do as well. We're going to investigate. I mean, if it's been mishandled, there's so many levels that this shows dysfunction in the Vancouver organization. Who doesn't know what's going on with somebody who's injured? It's supposed to be a 4 to 6 week injury, and now it's end of the season, and he may not play next year either. It might be the end of his career. Like, this is bad. This is, like, really just historically bad. Under Benning, sure, they couldn't draft or trade or sign guys, but at least we knew when they were hurt how long they were going to be out. I don't believe the bar's this low. The bar is so low for the Vancouver organization, and they managed to look at it and go, where is that, an inch above the ground? Yeah, I don't think we can clear that. Nope. So... yeah, we'll see what happens with that investigation. The investigation doesn't fix Tanner Pearson. The investigation, and the other problem with that is this, is if it's affected Pearson's injury, could it possibly be affecting other members of the team and injuries they've had, or maybe injuries they're working through? Are there guys right now that are playing hurt that shouldn't be? There's a lot of questions I have based on this information. And for Rutherford to not really know what's going on makes it look bad on the organization. So I don't think Rutherford's going to last that long in Vancouver. I don't know what's going to happen with Boudreau. I don't know what's going to happen with Alvin. They just brought Alvin in. But I know people will say, well, Aquilini needs to sell the team. We might be at the point of needing an exorcist. I don't know what's going on with this team. So that being said, we'll move along. Injury news for Vegas. Vegas knows that Stone's out week to week. It's an upper body injury, and he's not being tended to by Vancouver's medical team, so he should be fine. He should be only out for a couple of weeks, you would think. They have a game coming up on Saturday against Edmonton, and for Vegas, they don't have any room at the top of the division anymore. Seattle is coming on quickly. LA Kings are not far behind. They're only a couple points back. So, yeah, for Vegas, they cannot afford to start losing guys like they did last year, and Stone is a very important forward. Whether he's scoring or not scoring, he's very important to the team for his 200-foot game, for his ability to steal pucks, and so this is not great news. Kelly Hrudey revealing on Twitter today, and I wanted to put this in the video because this is considered to be the most depressing time of year. So I intended to do a video both on this channel as well as on my secondary channel for distractions at this time of year, because it's after Christmas, credit card bills come in, and it's still dark out all the time. Like, you get up at like 9 o'clock in the morning, like, where's the sun? And then at 3 in the afternoon, it's gone. So it's a rough time of year for a lot of people. And Kelly Hrudey basically revealing that it was really basically taking over for him, and he reached out to people and he got help. So the reason I put this in this video is simple. For anybody who's dealing with this seasonal affective disorder is what it's termed as. You're not on your own. There are resources to use, and your friends are there for that. And for anybody who is watching and going, well, I don't want to burden my friends. It is not a burden for you to go to your friends and saying, I'm having a hard time. I've had friends come to me and say, I'm having a hard time. I have never said, this is kind of a burden for me. Can you come back later? It's not a thing. Absolutely not a thing. I've had people tell me that on some level, and it's terrible. And if somebody tells you that, probably not really your friend. So for anybody who's battling that, I wanted to put that in this video, in a news video specifically. And also, huge kudos to Kelly Rudy for being willing to talk about it, because keeping that in the conversation at this time of year is important. All right, on to other news from tonight. And this is kind of as things unfolded tonight. Jack Hughes is on pace for 100 points, exactly 100 points. I do believe with the scores, with the points he had tonight. The Devils have never had a 50-goal scorer. They've never had a 100-goal scorer. Elias had 96 points in 2000-2001. Gionta has the record with 48 goals for the New Jersey Devils. So they've never had 50 goals or 100 points on their team, and Jack Hughes may get both. It's very similar to what Kaprizov did yet last year in completely taking over the record book for the Wild. And for New Jersey, of course, they had some very good teams that won Stanley Cups, but they were a team built on four lines. They weren't a team with superstars. They were just a really hard-working team, and they won cups that way. Very similar to what Seattle's doing right now in the NHL. So kudos to Hughes on that. Bedard. So Bedard comes back from the World Juniors, clearly feeling good about himself right now. He is averaging 3.5 goals per game since returning from the World Junior Championship for Regina. He also has 11 points in his last 2 games. He had 6 points in the last game, and now he had 5 points in tonight's game. So he slacked off a little bit just getting the 5 points. And again, I know there's people who think he's being overhyped. This is where the problem comes in, that every year there's a number 1 draft pick. And so they all end up with similar hype levels when it comes to the media side of it. But scouts are basically saying Bedard's different. I've heard the word generational thrown around with Bedard as well this past week. And this is something I'm not going to say when it comes to Bedard. But it's something that clearly has been on the scouts' minds. I'll say since he was like 12 years old. There were a lot of expectations. And so even when Lafreniere was going to be the number 1 pick, there was still a lot of, you want to be in on the Bedard. Bedard lottery is going to be the big one. So he's doing very well for himself. He's doing nothing to hurt his draft stock. I'm not even putting on the board, but like he was declared the number 1 North American skater on the NHL rankings for the draft. Of course he was. Who else are they going to put there? It's just no. Fantilli's number 2, but yeah, it's Bedard. Also, for Anaheim fans, it's been rough the last 3 games. This last week, they've been outscored 19-5 in 3 games, all at home. 12-4 in the last 2 and 7-1 in the one before that. So rebuilds are ugly. This is how the rebuilds look, and it is not a fun time. I wouldn't imagine it's fun in that locker room. I would imagine it's very quiet after that game tonight against New Jersey. I would imagine they got out of there pretty quickly after because you're only halfway through the season. And this is the thing. You have an 82-game season. It's not like you can just tear it down and go, all right, well, we'll get through this season. You have 41 home dates, 41 road dates you got to get through. And there's no guarantee things are really a lot better next year either. Although with Bedard, they could be. Patrick Kane also coming out and talking about how special Bedard was in an interview yesterday and how he can understand all the hype and that he could transform a franchise when he's drafted. That is very rare that you see a player have that kind of effect, but he thinks that Bedard could. And these are things that have been said about Ovechkin when he was drafted, about Crosby when he's drafted, as well as about McDavid. And again, until a guy's drafted, there's always that chance they're going to flop at the NHL level, but there's some that you go, yeah, he's not going to flop. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.